They just better not derail from the world and start putting extremely woke crap. Otherwise, the show will be over before it has even begun. Mark my words. Get woke and go broke is not just words. It's a movement of a prediction of woke crap. I truly believe in that. I agree. When you put a political message above profit, and more importantly, serving your customers, the people with whom are giving you stuff, the moment you become woke, as for an example, basketball, baseball, football, all three of those within the last month, if not the last week, opened up with their first event. Because they were promoting Black Lives Matter, which has been proven it is a lot of rioters and terrorists, because again, one person was burned alive in a pawn shop by Black Lives Matter terrorists in Minneapolis. Yes, it has happened. So I can say that without shitting on black people, because Black Lives Matter and black people are different. Black Lives Matter is a political organization. Okay, Fairchild, what is your... Oh, man. Okay, he's overreacting. Oh, these are going to be fun. Fairchild. What? Avatar has always been woke. And one great example is Avatar, or the Kyoshi Warriors, and I think the third, fourth, sixth episode, it's in the beginning of the first season of the Avatar: The Last Airbender, where the Kyoshi Warriors and Sokka is being very sexist against, like, oh, you're women, you don't know how to do anything. And then the Kyoshi Warriors are very calm and studious and just, teach him a lesson of humility, and he needs to be part of the group. He wants to learn from them, and the only way to learn from them is to actually don the gear of the Kyoshi Warriors. So he dons the female dress and everything, and it's like they're battle garments or something, and it's just he gets a big old humbled pie. But the thing is that it has always been woke. In today's world, that's not a good thing. It's like America is problematic. That's woke. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so aware of how evil America is. So let's burn the flag and Bibles. Yes, Black Lives Matter has burned Bibles, Christian Bibles, and any and all you black people that are praising or that are practicing Christianity, well, you are just practicing racism, because Christianity is racist. Oh man. Again, it has always been woke. There are woke moments. And if anything, it worked, because it wasn't about him, again, fixing sexism, because for you to practice with us, you must practice our culture. It's like, oh wow, I probably wouldn't have done it, but at the same time, that is the correct way to have done it. If you want to learn from us, you have to don our gear. You have to act our way. You have to believe how we believe if you want us to give you anything. If you want us to share the knowledge that you are seeking. It's the same way with any profession. You want to become a monk, you have to do what the monks do. You want to become a warrior, you have to do what a warrior does. You want to become a parent? Go talk to parents and see what they do. Yeah, that's how you become a proper parent, a proper warrior, a proper monk, so on and so forth. You're just watching with your child eyes. What are you talking about? I want an example with what do you mean by child eyes, if you can't see them. Okay? Like, if anything, I think I've given you a perfectly example as to what you can do as before woke and do it correctly. But in today's world, it's like, oh my gosh, gay, and the outlandishness of saying gay all the time is, for me, the same thing as saying straight. It's so weird. It's weird to base your entire value system on that. Your people because they're straight. Your people because they're gay, your people because they're white, they're black. What does their immutable characteristics have anything to do with the culture and values that they practice? Yeah. Okay. Back then, it was all about equality for people in color and women. No, it wasn't about color and women. No, it was about equality. People were being oppressed. They had a certain episode here and there about addressing certain things, and I think it was very, not shoehorned, but that's the wrong word, overtly expressed in the first few episodes of the first season. I thought it was just hitting on the nose. It was rubbing the nose, hitting the nose, again, rubbing, brown nosing is different, but it was just on the nose. It was so blatant that it almost took me out of watching the entire series. But then after you get past that, it's just not there anymore. Nobody cares. Again, the equality of people, they don't bring up the color. They don't bring up, oh, you're a woman, ever again. They don't bring it up after the first few episodes. And the first few episodes are all about getting your entire series on track. Because you can have a first episode and then try to kind of like, you can retcon the second episode. You don't retcon the last episode, the last season. You don't. You if you're trying to make something, you see what works, you see what doesn't, and then you go with what works, and you stay on that point. It's like I always give I have a forgiveness of the first few episodes of any series, because you're trying to make something work. It's like if maybe you went to extreme, and then you're pulling it back for the rest of the series. That's okay. That's okay, because you're trying to see what works with what the audience would enjoy. So they made one of the strongest characters in the show a woman of color. But that's kind of the issue, is that the fact that she's a woman of color, she's now absent of any criticism that fundamentally breaks the entire series. She can use all of the elements with proficiency at the age of 4. No other Avatar has ever been able to do that before, or at least. It's like there was no skill involved to learning any other ones. She just knows how to do it. She is the epitome, the epitome of being a Mary Sue. She's a horrible connection to anything of Avatar: The Last Airbender. She didn't have to work hard. She just is amazing. Everybody loves her. And if you don't love her, you're a meanie. It seems as though you have the child eyes. It's one of the reasons why I think that Black Lives Matter, LGBT, and feminism are all viruses. They're all vile. Is because you value immutable characteristics and have values based upon those values, rather than saying, hey, man or woman, black or white, gay or straight, you need to act a certain way to be good. There's a certain thing that is of truth, and that's what matters. But she's a woman of color. And guess what? Isn't it through the child's eyes that you use all capital letters to be like, to really hone in on a point? It's like, a woman of color. It's like, that kind of sounds childish. Ha ha ha. It didn't seem strange to a child. These things never do. What? It didn't seem strange to a child? What are you talking about? Okay. And it's common now. Okay, that's one thing. You cannot base any... Gary Beekler from... the Nerdrotic channel on YouTube, he goes with the Rotten Tomatoes video so often. He does. He uses it as, hey, look at what the audience believes. I think that's an incredibly good point. You can't use it as a basis. Just because something is common, like 80% of people in America are living paycheck to paycheck, do not save, do not invest, do not do anything do not even cut back on their expenses. They don't. They believe that they can't. Is it common? Yes. Should we do it? No. What do you need to cut back on? Do you need to cut the cable bill? Do you need to save some rent by moving into and being a roommate with somebody? If you don't want to, that's okay. You have the choice to. But the choice of you not of living paycheck to paycheck, just because it's common doesn't make it good. Oh, I hate that argument. You can use it, but it seems to be a basis that, well, it's common now, thanks to people like these creators. Like Avatar KORRA, they did some good things. The show sucks fundamentally because it's just not Avatar. Thanks to these people, oh my gosh, Fairchild, you're so fucking woke. Gosh, I can already guess your politics. You're a liberal, you're SJW, you're in support of Black Lives Matter, you're LGBTQ supportive, you're probably feminist. And again, can you be a gay person and not be LGBTQ? And if the answer is yes, well, they just don't care about gay stuff, gay progression in society. So if they're gay, they have to vote a certain way. They have to do it because they're gay. You have to vote this way because you're black. It's the same argument. Gosh, Fairchild, you're fucking shitty. Wow, you're the reason that society is shit. Like, really, this person is shit. So, and it's common now, thanks to people like these creators. But back then, that was woke as fuck. Yes, but the first few episodes were very on the nose. It's so awkward. And then the way that they made people equal is that they moved away from race and skin color and sex, and they made characters competent. It's amazing to see a very competent villain. The princess Princess Azula was phenomenal. Not because she's great for being a woman. It's like, no, she's fucking badass, being born and being raised, not just born, but being raised as a prodigy, and having that, like, that bent of, like, well, I get to do whatever I want because I'm the princess, and just, like, kept delving into that world, and she was never corrected. She never got challenged on her bad actions, and if she did, well, she's the princess, she's a prodigy, she's amazing, she's amazing, so leave her alone. It had nothing to do with her sex. It had nothing to do with how she looked. She was pretty, but crazy. Yoon. He's overreacting. It's like too fucking... Oh my gosh, it's, again, I could use so many words here. He's overreacting. Like you said, Avatar has always been woke, so let's put more gay shit in it. It's the same thing as somebody said, let's put more straight stuff in it. It's like, let's put more straight stuff in it, yeah! That just sounds so fucking lame. That's not what I want to see. If that's the value that you have, focusing on the sexuality of the characters rather than trying to create good characters, good, competent characters, competent villains, well, as long as they're, well, we can't have any villain who's gay, and if they are gay, they need to be, their justice needs to be, we need to love them. No, if they're a bad character, maybe they need to be killed off. But they're gay! It's all about love. That's what being woke is nowadays, and it's horrible. It's absolutely awful. Oh, they had 2 whole episodes in the first season calling out guys for being sexist and close-minded. Yeah, they did. They had 2 whole episodes. And again, those episodes were so on the nose that it took me out of, like, oh, sexism, I get it, whatever, let's move on. It's like, I don't care about that. And if you're telling me that, well, I should care about it, like, I don't care about it. I'm fighting back on it. If you want to make things equal, don't mention it. Somebody's in a wheelchair in Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't know if anybody knew that. The reason that he was amazing was because of his attitude towards him being permanently in a wheelchair. His father is a great inventor. His mother, unfortunately, died. He was fortunate to have a great attitude about life. He's able to fly and glide through the air. Maybe not as the spirit of, like, Avatar, the Last Airbender, being, you know, sort of salty about that, because he was so hopeful that there would actually be more airbenders, but it was just that they were gliding rather than just, like, flying with a good spirit. I think that he was way over the top. I don't know how he could have actually done that in his wheelchair to have that type of glider. But at the same time, I think it was a good additive. I think he had too few lines, too few character moments in the entire show. You could have added a few more things where he was probably working with his father as learning how to become a great inventor, so whenever his father passes that he becomes an inventor, or it's just his character wasn't developed as much, which it's unfortunate because, again, he's a very uplifting character, so anytime that there's, like, bad things happening, he's just like, hey, come on, guys, it's like, we're still alive, aren't we? Yeah, you're right. It's like, okay, here we go, let's keep on going. It was only increased the more the franchise expanded. Well, that's not a good thing, just because, again, the franchise expanded. Disney Trilogy. Oh, the Disney Trilogy expanded upon Star Wars, but it was a fucking wreck. It doesn't mean it's good. KORRA is bi. Kyoshi is bi. What the fuck does that have anything to do with whether or not they're a good character? Because they're bi? Like, Kyoshi's bi. Okay, she's still a fucking cunt. She's still horrible. She's a bitch. She's a fucking dick. She needs to go die. She's a horrible avatar. Kyoshi's the worst. I think the worst avatar. I would place a bet on that. She's the worst avatar. Or at least the known avatar. Worst known avatar. We don't really know anything about this sexual orientation, which doesn't fucking matter! Oh my gosh, we don't know the sexual orientation for most of the avatars. What the fuck? It doesn't matter! Unless you really care about that type of shit. It's like somebody saying, like, hey guys, what's the race of these guys? Because they look brown, but they're not really dark black, and that's the true black. It's like, ooh, it's like a light-skinned brown person. Well, I need to know whether or not they're Latina, they're Latin, they're Hispanic, or of whether or not they're just a tan white person. It's like, what? Okay, like, A, It's whatever the characteristic is, but you're just honing in on it. It's one of the things that should just be like, here is an immutable characteristic that they cannot change about themselves. Boom, we move on. Because what matters is the development of the character, not the immutable characteristic of them. But you keep on, oh my gosh, so woke and brave. It's like, if you focused on straightness, it would be as awkward. As awkward. Not less awkward, not more awkward. The exact same amount of awkward. Oh my, KORRA is straight. Kyoshi is straight. We don't really know anything about the sexual orientation for most of the avatars. This is like a fucking bigot talking about. But no, I'm not a bigot. I just care about the immutable characteristics of people because that's the most important part. It's like, guys, we need more wokeness. We need more bisexual people in the show. Why? It's like saying we need more straight people in the show. It's so weird. Oh my gosh. It's like saying that Avatar, not Avatar. It's like saying the Crystal Gems, Steven Universe, we need more straight people on the show. What? Like, I don't fucking care. Why do you need more straight people on the show? If anything, it's a very gay show. I think some of what they do is phenomenal. I think there are some concepts that I think they fell shy of what they could have made amazing. Like, Ruby Rose, I think, was actually the creator of Steven Universe. There's so many flaws within that show, that series. But there's so many things that they've actually created, or she actually created, that did wonders. That actually broke some tropes. That actually made new characters I thoroughly enjoyed. Garnet, strongest character on the show. If anything, a stereotype of her being black. She has an afro. But again, so what? So fucking what? She's a strong character. If anything, a strong, the mother of the den mother of the entire group. Awesome. Cool. It had nothing to do with her gayness. Oh my gosh, I'm in a lesbian relationship. The fact that you value it is what's fucking annoying. It's just like saying, well, there needs to be more straight people on the show. Why? Why does there need to be more straight people? This is ancient China. This, if anything, there's no need for your sexual orientation to be gay. You can't add to the gene pool. You're killing it. It's like I think that your father and your mother are just so happy you ended their bloodline. It's like, I don't fucking care, but if you value it, I'm so worried about it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Let's read that sentence again. We don't really know anything about the sexual orientation for most avatars, but if either Brian or Mike came out tomorrow and said, every avatar has a bisexual inclination, I wouldn't even be surprised. That's the point! Just because the creators of the show makes it canon doesn't make it good. I don't know how these people function in the real world of whether or not they can tie their shoes. Oh my gosh, guys, that's how they think. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh wait, I'm saying oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's sucking me in dry. It's sucking me dry. Help me. So, again, if every avatar has a bisexual inclination, so your avatar Aang is now gayish? So you're literally making Avatar Aang gay for the sake of, yay, we have representation that represents us. Well, as a straight person, where's my representation? Well, you have so many straight people in so many shows. We need to change your straight character that you enjoy and make him gay for our sake. Fine, guys, we'll just make him a bisexual. But I'm straight. Oh, no, that works for me, as long as he's not straight. You're trying to change old content, and again, the value of whether or not they're all, like, I don't fucking care. You're making it the issue. It's like, guys, we need more black people on the show. It's like, well, let's do it this way. An all-black film, okay? One great example, it's like, I can't really name that many, so I agree that there's a disproportionate amount of, let's just say, white people in movies. But let's just do it this way. Shaft. Shaft is almost, if not entirely, a black film. I haven't watched it. It was kind of like The Spirit or Sin City. I liked I liked Sin City, but it was so over the top. I would not want to have watched it if I could make that choice again. I'm glad I watched it, but I was too young. I was a little bit young when I watched that show, and I shouldn't have watched it again at that age. It's like saying in that movie, oh my god, in Shaft, oh my gosh, guys, we need more white people on the show. Why? It's just like, why? Why? Because we need more representation. So you're saying someone is only represented not through their values, not through their ideas, not through their culture, not through the actions that they practice, but instead of whether or not the person is black or white. Their immutable characteristics on the screen, that's the only way somebody will be represented. So if I can only love Steven Universe because the main character is straight. Not because of the plot, not because of the development of character reactions and to the events that happen, not to the character development of how somebody is exploring and becoming better, not of them being aware of the issues that they have and they have to overcome those problems. It's the fact that Steven Universe is a straight white male. That's the only reason as to why I like the show. It's like, he's an annoying little kid that says, hey guys, we should be happy. And he's incredibly inconsistent with like, well, we shouldn't kill. And then in another episode, guys, we should kill. He changes based off whatever the plot needs him to be as. So he's an incredibly inconsistent character. But that character, Steven Universe, is not really the reason I watch the show. He's like Asta from Black Clover. Asta, for anybody who hasn't seen that anime, he's an incredibly annoying character. He's one of the reasons why I almost stopped watching about 2 episodes in. That's how he talks. He always talks with the I'm going to be the best. That he talks like that, and it's so annoying. But as a character, it's the reason why I like him. It's so weird that you have to think that you value a character. You're represented by a character, not through their values, not through their opinions, not through the culture that they practice, but the fact of whether or not they have an immutable characteristic. You're the problem, okay? You're the problem, and you make everything worse, making people try to pick sides of like, well, aren't you for the LGBTQ group? I'm not for a political organization that tries to change culture based off an immutable characteristic. I'm not in favor of that. No, I am not in favor of the LGBT group. If you can clip that out of context, but that's my entire point of view. I think it's weird that you think that Black Lives Matter, as a political organization, is important based off your immutable characteristics. I think what happens to black people has historically been disproportionately weighing them. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that I support your actions of rioting in the street. Well, there's many other protesters. Are you calling out the riots? Are you calling out the 20 people that got killed during Chicago? Are you going to call out the many black people that went out rioting? One person with a U-Haul going to a store, breaking the windows and taking whatever they wanted? If anything, it sounds like black lives don't matter because they don't value anyone else other than themselves. But again, that would be a very racist take, but I'm just looking at the evidence and saying, wow, this is weird. But if you're saying, well, Black Lives Matter, go out, riot, and loot. Black Lives Matter, go out and burn somebody alive. Minneapolis pawn shop, go look it up. It's horrible. The issue is that if you associate your identity, you associate your ideology, your political movement, based off an immutable characteristic that you cannot change, unlike your values, your opinions, what you care about, your perspective. These things change, and they can be relatable regardless of whatever your identity might be. Whatever, not your identity, I hate saying that. Your physical, immutable characteristics. Okay? You can identify with somebody who's in a wheelchair and black. I'm not a black person in a wheelchair, but I can still identify with somebody who's in a wheelchair and black because of the values and the practices that they take, and maybe even the challenges they have to overcome. Not the fact that they're a black person, that they have to be a white person for me to like them. That I have to be a black person to like them. That them being black means that I have to be a black person to like the character. It's the fact that they are a character. And their development. You don't develop an immutable characteristic. So, man. just so on and so forth. And there's load more comments. I don't think I can